And we're coming to you live from the Rocket Health Studios here in sunny Southwest Florida. Welcome to another edition of the Tyler McClosky Show, coming to you every single Saturday at 11 a.m. right here on 92.5 Fox News. And we got a special Memorial Day weekend this week. Hopefully we get enough of the audience tuning in live, even though you might be out on the boats enjoying the weather. Everything's good, but we wanted to make sure we brought you fresh, brand new content this week in studio. And we've actually got something special. We've had him on before. We're going to bring in my good buddy Kyle Dietz. He's now the senior vice president of healthcare.com. And, he worked on the Pivot Health side before, the Bridge to Medicare that we've talked about. So I'm going to bring him in a couple minutes to the show to introduce him back. He's going to give you guys all the facts, not feelings, in regards to health insurance and the things that we've talked about before, and give a little bit of update on that market. But where I start the show with, as I usually do every single week, is really hammering down on where we're at right now, coming into the end of May, getting ready to start the summer, in evaluating your insurance, specifically your health insurance, on what matters the most to you. What is the most important part of it that you're concerned about right now? Is it strictly your premium? Is it how you use your plan with the doctors or hospitals? Is it the tax credit subsidies that maybe you had to pay back when you just filed your taxes? It's the biggest thing that we talk about all the time, and it's a majority of what our clients listen to right here in Southwest Florida, and why this show's been very successful at what we do. So again, the phone number to reach out, 239-633-3140. Again, 239-633-3140. Or if you visit our website, www.rockethealth.com, www.rockethealth.com. You guys can feel free to go ahead and reach out to us there. Again, remember, we do not spam you. We do not call you a million times like all the other centers in the world. We never sell your information to other people because we are the agents right here locally in Southwest Florida. So if you are in that situation right now where simply your premiums are just too expensive or you had to pay them back on your tax credit subsidies, reach out, give us a call. Let's review it. Let's look at that today so we can help you out. 239-633-3140. I know it's Memorial Day weekend, and we're all glad and happy to be here and doing that, but we want to make sure that this is the priority for what you guys do. All right. Now, jumping right into it, stepping into the studio this week, my good friend Kyle Dietz. Kyle, thanks for coming down in town again.
Hey, thanks, Tyler, for having me. Glad to be here.
I know this is the second stint at the radio show. We got to make this annual. Maybe we'll get to semi-annual, maybe every quarter at some point, right?
It'd be awesome. I love sharing some news about the health insurance. Very passionate about it. And so very appreciative, Tyler, for having me on.
So just give our audience again I know we talked about this even prior to the show. We've got a lot of loyal listeners. I mean, I've been doing this for 2.5 years now, right here on Fox News. And I'm surprised it's lasted that long. I think we're going to keep going with it as long as possible. But give everybody a little bit of your story about why we're talking today, even for the audience perspective. You've been in the health insurance industry pretty much your whole working life, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So I've been in the insurance business now for about 15 years. I've worked on the carrier side. I've worked on the agency side. I've worked on the technology front. So I'm just an insurance nerd, and my goal and our company's goal, healthcare.com, is really to lessen the amount of uninsured population. That's really what our focus is. So the listeners that are out there that are uninsured, I know it's confusing. I know there's a lot of options that are out there, but there's never been a better time to reach out to an agent and see what options you have to buy some coverage, whatever in the form of that is. That's the goal.
Absolutely. Now you brought me right into a good talking point. And, I was having this conversation with an agent yesterday, actually, a new agent that just came into Rocket Health, left their career as, as a real estate agent because of the market slowing down, and really wanted to get into something that they could be passionate about and see longevity in that career. And the client we were talking to, we hear this all the time. They've gone without health insurance for the past 3-4 years. And the reason why they went without health insurance is because they said, yeah, I had it for 5 years. I was paying $400 a month and I never used it. So I decided to cancel. How do we change the mindset, I guess? Because if you ask somebody, hey, I've had car insurance for the last 10 years, but I've never gotten into a car accident. I've never used my insurance, so I'm going to cancel it. Or my homeowner's insurance, my house never caught on fire, so I'm going to cancel my homeowner's insurance because I don't need it anymore. Why is it so different with health insurance, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think, a couple of things, right? I mean, car insurance is mandated, right? If you have a car, you have to have car insurance, right? You don't have to have car insurance if you don't have a car. I think health insurance is such a personal choice. And I get that it's one of those things where it's kind of like life insurance, right? Like it's something that you buy and you hope you never actually have to use it. And that's really hard in our society today, to put money towards something that you don't see the value maybe up front. But I think you nailed it when you started the show. It's people have to decide what is important to them, and it could be insurance premiums, right? So look for options that are lower insurance premiums, but may come with a little bit more risk on the customer side, meaning there's maybe a little bit more out-of-pocket expenses that they have. If prescription drugs are important to them, then find plans that provide coverage on prescription drugs. So again, very, very personal choice of what people want within their health insurance. And again, I get the sentiment that people don't want, they don't want to use it. It's not something that we want to use. But I think you hear too many stories, and you can look up the stats of the medical debt that people are in because they elect not to have insurance, right? Because you don't know when that claim is going to happen, and you wish you had it.
Exactly.
And that's the push.
And I think a lot of our audience that listens here, again, in the clientele that we're in Southwest Florida, Naples area, we do have a good audience here that's kind of in that bridge to Medicare gap, right? That 55 to 65-year-old range. And they get it. They understand we need health insurance, period. Now for them, it's just deciding that factor of what makes the most sense on what plan to get, right? But there's still, like you said, there's still so much of that majority out there that, again, you're selling a product. Us as agents, we hate it, right? We're selling a product that we hope you never have to use, but it needs to be in place to use it the proper way. Now, the number one thing that I see, and maybe you can share your experience this even from the, on your days on the carrier side, working for companies like United Healthcare, National Health Insurance, Allstate Health, those type of carriers out there, they'll make certain plans that are very good for the major what ifs, and that's the whole reason for having insurance. But where the customer has that bad experience is in the initial upfront with that doctor's visit that may or may not give them everything that they need. And it's how do you bridge that gap from a carrier side to a customer's expectations and so on and so forth,
So I think you nailed it, right? I mean, there's beauty in it in terms of we've never been in a market right now that we have so much optionality for our customers, right? I mean, short-term medical insurance, which again, for you that don't know anything about short-term medical insurance, it is truly medical insurance. There's deductibles, there's prescription drug coverage. You can get co-pays for office visits. But it lasts a certain duration. And in most states, that's up to 3 years. There's underwriting requirements, meaning that you do need to medically qualify. So it is not the Affordable Care Act plans. There's not required benefits that are put onto it, but it may be more affordable for certain folks in that demographic that you just mentioned that may have a couple of years until Medicare eligibility. And so they're just sitting there saying, you know what? I don't need high premiums, right? I have maybe a little bit of a nest egg of money that I can pay for some out-of-pocket expenses if I need to. I am relatively healthy and can qualify medically. So there are options there in the short-term medical market. There are options. I know, you're a proponent and sell, what's called fixed indemnity insurance, which provides cash benefits to customers if they have certain claims. And then obviously you have the Affordable Care Act market. So if somebody is needing guaranteed issue coverage because they do have some serious medical conditions, or they get a tax credit that is significant. There's options there as well.
And that's kind of what we're going to talk about. You led me again right into after our first break here about agents making sure that they're educating clients properly to put them in or suggest the right plan. So sitting in here with the Senior VP of Sales of Healthcare.com, my good buddy Kyle Dietz. Again, to reach the show today, 239-633-3140. Phone number again, 239-633-3140. If you have any questions about your current health insurance plan, you're looking to make a switch or change, you want to ask some questions to Kyle or the company, call us in today. Call or text 239-633-3140. Everybody stay tuned. You guys are listening to The Tyler McClosky Show. Welcome everybody back to The Tyler McClosky Show, coming to you live from the Rocket Health Studios. Phone number to reach the show again, 239-633-3140 or online at rockethealth.com, www.rockethealth.com. Sitting in studio with us today, again, good buddy of mine, Kyle Dietz, Senior Vice President of Sales of Healthcare.com, and just give the little promotion of the business, which is fine because I want the audience to understand that too. Where is healthcare.com in the space of insurance? Are people going to buy and shop on there? What's the connection with, the company Pivot Health that we promote a lot on this show as well too, just to give everybody a little bit of that understanding.
Yeah, thanks for teeing that up. So a couple of things, right? And we've spoke about it in the first half of this segment, which is, insurance is very personal. And for those individuals that have elected to not have insurance, the point of healthcare.com is really to try to get consumers to understand what plans within what health plans and enroll the way that they want to, right? Because it's not a one size fits all. And so what we do is we actually connect with agencies such as Rocket Health so that consumers can get an idea of what they want and then get directed to an agent that can actually walk them through the process of getting enrolled. And so we're there to really support customers and saying, here are some options. Here's what we think that you should look into buying. And then we connect them to the agent to sit there and say, yes, what healthcare.com has on there is this is what we believe the certain product and the certain health plan should be enrolled. And so that's where we're at. That's what we want to do. And then we have a marketplace of insurance plans that we connect directly to carriers. And think of it like what Amazon does right now, where you have that bar at the bottom that says, other people that are similar to you also are finding these products valuable, right? Again, not a one size fits all, but there are like-minded individuals out there. And our goal is to try to get consumers to see that there are options out there, and we're going to try to use a lot of data science to put customers into the plans that we think will best fit their needs and their budget, because that's where we're going to get the uninsured population down.
And that, I think it's sometimes a difficult challenge for you guys too, to make sure you're vetting out the correct agents and agencies to work with. We talk about it all the time here. And again, very big difference between healthcare.gov and healthcare.com. So everybody knows that, but good marketing strategy there to pick up that name. How long ago did they buy that name, by the way?
We were around before healthcare.gov.
All right,
just
good.
As a
Love that. So the stability in the market. The biggest thing right now that I'm seeing, I know you're seeing it too, but we talk to the consumers listening to the show right now. You're like, guys, we're driving in a car, we're listening to Fox News. Why do we care about all the stuff you're talking about? It's because, unfortunately, right now we're in such a time and change. And again, we leave politics out of this as much as possible. But depending upon which party is usually in rule of the country, certain agendas are pushed certain ways. So obviously, they'd like to see more enrollments come through the healthcare.gov side of things to get more Affordable Care Act enrollments, which is fine. But right now, what you see are these agencies that are, really just popping up everywhere. And they're going directly into a customer. And the thing that I hate the most personally, then this can be a personal thing. I know we try to leave the feelings out of it. But when you ask a consumer specifically the very first question, what's your income? If that is the only qualification that you're talking to a consumer about, you're probably doing the wrong thing as an agent. And when we talk to somebody our two questions are very simple. What do you have and what do you want? That's where we take the conversation standpoint versus just what is your income? Because so many of our clients listening right now today that call me, they tell me the stories of how they were put into a plan with a very low premium because of a tax credit subsidy, but were never educated and told. My IRA comes into this, my 401k that I took out of it, I sold a property, I had extra income, I got a bonus at the end of the year, and now they're stuck paying all of that back.
Yeah, so a couple of things to digest right there. One, to go back to it. So healthcare.com has a brand of insurance products that Rocket Health has been a great partner of called Pivot Health. And Pivot Health specializes in, as I mentioned earlier in the show, short-term medical insurance. It's an alternative to ACA. It's for individuals that do have to medically qualify, and maybe in that income level that they're not getting significant tax credits. And so, and you nailed it. I mean, we've just seen a surge, Tyler, in the pre-Medicare population, right? That 55 plus individuals that come to insurance agents and say, I don't want to buy insurance anymore because the premiums are so expensive, and they think that's their only option. And exactly to nail on, they have to work with agents that understand the market enough to know that there's other options that exist for them. So that's Pivot Health. It's owned by healthcare.com, and it's a brand of products that consumers can buy that are not ACA.
Oh, absolutely. And the reason why too, I know you guys came with your, kind of almost invented or came out with that bridge to Medicare product. One of those we talk about all the time. Yes, it's still labeled technically, which I hate the connotation about it, that it's short-term medical, but it is a 3-year short-term medical policy that, in all honesty, when we're talking to people here in the show, I mean, if you're in the market right now and you need to switch insurance and buy a new plan, well, if you're getting something through healthcare.gov from the ACA market, that plan, if you buy it for a June 1st effective date, technically that plan does end at the end of the year. Now you're guaranteed to enroll into it all over again January 1st. We're not pushing a certain agenda, but that plan, the benefits of that plan end at the end of the year, December 31st, where policies from Pivot, United Healthcare, Allstate Health, if you're able to obtain and qualify for a 3-year policy, you're able to lock in benefits now for 36 months. That gives you that bridge to Medicare a lot more predictable than it would be somewhere else.
Yeah, and let's make sure the audience knows. So, when we talk about short-term medical, and again, there's multiple terms that you can use for it. And I know some of you are probably thinking, well, why can you only go up to 3 years? Well, you mentioned it. Depending upon what administration is in office, they push certain agendas and there are certain rules that apply. So you can have short-term medical insurance for a month if you need it. You can have it up to 3 years in a certain number of states, which is a lot of states. And some states have lesser duration options. So it's more regulated, right, with the government in terms of the durations that are allowed. So when you're sitting there like, well, why can't I just buy this, ongoing? It's more regulated at the government level. But here's the key is you can only have one plan for up to 3 years. That doesn't mean that you can't buy multiple 3-year plans or
absolutely.
1-year plans. You just have to medically qualify each time that your plan would end. So I want to make that point clear that you actually can continue to have short-term medical, right, as it's defined, but you have to re-enroll. And that's where the agents come into play. If we had 4 hours to talk about this, we could kind of explain it a little bit more, but my point is connect to an agent, let them help you understand in your area what your options are. I'm just going to harp on this. Just don't go uninsured.
Yeah, exactly. And back to that initial talking point that we talked about before is just because you don't use your health insurance doesn't mean you need to cancel it. The whole entire purpose of that is the in case, the what if. Now, the biggest thing that I'm able to help a lot of people with on this show, again, let me backtrack real quick. If you guys are still listening right now and it's the first time hearing it and you need the phone number again, I'm going to give that out. Make sure you write it down or shoot in a text message. We'll always make sure we respond, whether we connect today, over the weekend, on Monday. 239-633-3140. Again, 239-633-3140. 3140 or online at rockethealth.com, www.rockethealth.com. Speaking of which, I hope that that's a pretty good name too. I know you guys got healthcare.com, but it took me a lot of time, money, and effort to buy rockethealth.com to brand around that. But with that being said too, the price point can be a lot more, and again, affordable is all depending on the person you're talking to, right? So affordability factor always depends on your current situation. But for somebody here in Southwest Florida, we give these examples all the time. If you are 60 years old in Lee or Charlotte County, and you're looking to make sure you have a major medical policy that's going to try to get you up for the next 3 to 5 years until you're ready for Medicare, you can legitimately have that policy set in place for around $500 a month. Now, you can go much lower. You might have to strip some benefits out of that plan. But to your point and your company's motto, making sure that there's less uninsured people in the marketplace, that's exactly what we do. And sometimes they're looking at what healthcare.gov might have shown them at 60 years old in Charlotte County, and it's over $2,000 a month before you put an income factor in there.
Yeah. So here's a thing too along those lines that I want to make sure people understand too, because you keep mentioning people like not utilizing their insurance, right? And to me, some of that falls on consumers not knowing what their insurance actually entails. I mean, there are so many great benefits out there that insurance companies are putting forth. I'll give you an example here, and it's a little rabbit trail, but I think it'll resonate with the audience. Because of the pandemic, we've had this surge in what is called telemedicine, right? And these companies are developing more telemedicine benefits, meaning you can call a doctor online or through the phone, and they can help you get your, if you have the flu or, whatever, just simple diagnosis.
They can also do video stuff too. If somebody has a rash, I have a friend of mine, their kid a 2-year-old kid had a rash. They were able to do a video chat with the doctor.
Exactly. So you don't have to go in to see a doctor and spend that time. And so it used to be more episodic, right? Where I would say like that rash example is more of like, now healthcare is really moving into a direction where it's moving from the term telemedicine to more virtual care. That's now, you can see a dermatologist, you can see an urgent care doctor, you can see a mental health provider, which is a huge, issue right now and plaguing our country, right? So just the thought of, and again, it still ties back into like the uninsured, is like, make sure that your plans, or if you buy a plan, just recognize all of the value there. And if they don't cover the things that you really want to see, there's always supplemental insurance plans that you can add to, call it what we call a core medical plan that provides real value immediately for you. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that those options exist.
And you teed that up perfectly for us, because at Rocket Health, that's all that we do when we talk to our consumers. Even when I talk to you guys personally, and some of the audience is still surprised when they call into the phone number, that I actually will answer the phone half the time, not even the agents or the other staff, because I do like to have that personal connection with our audience. And if I'm telling you something on the radio, I'm going to live by it and preach it to you and make sure I explain it properly as well. We don't even dive into all the different things that the insurance covers, but we make sure that we build a package together for that customer that's going to include, hey, if we have to have a higher deductible, well, let's offset that deductible with accident plans, critical illness plans that are built right into it to make sure that you get the best bang for your buck and get taken care of. At the end of the day, though, just, my sales pitch back to the audience again is, going uninsured is the worst thing that can ever happen to you. You cannot go uninsured, period. There's always going to be a plan out there that is available for you to get, guaranteed issue plans, underwritten plans, no matter what the case scenario is. You have to make sure that you have some sort of advocate of an insurance company to have your back on that. But at the end of the day, too, it's got to be the right insurance company. And for us, Rocket Health specifically, that's why we partner with 3 of the top carriers in the country that put the reputation on the line: Pivot Health, Allstate Health, United Health. Those three carriers are our top three partners. We still have all of our other ones. We, not to downplay any others, but those three, put it this way, they at least will cover all the basis of what you need here, specifically in Southwest Florida, the plan availability. And, there's other insurance companies out there that will act and look like they're trying to be major medical insurance when in fact, unfortunately, they're not. And you guys really need to vet that stuff out. So if you have any questions on that specifically, you want to review your plan, you want to go into it, give us a call, 239-633-3140. Again, 239-633-3140 or online, rockethealth.com. www.rockethealth.com. Call, click, text, anything that you guys need to do just to make sure we're connecting. Hopefully you guys are having a great Memorial Day weekend. If we have to talk during a week, that's fine as well too. Kyle, we got just a couple minutes left here with the audience today. We might extend a little longer like last time if you guys can catch us online. Number one, obviously, I appreciate you coming down here, flying all the way down from Indianapolis just to do the show with us. So I appreciate that.
Well, I want to throw a question back to you, Tyler, because I want to know from you, and this is one of the reasons why we've been friends for as long as we have, is your passion towards health insurance, and that's the connectivity that we have there. But I'd love to know from you. I mean, again, you're on the front lines, your agents are the front lines interacting with consumers. And so I'd love to know from you, what are you seeing that customers want in insurance plans so that we make sure on the carrier and product development side that we're building insurance plans that fit the needs of consumers that you're interacting with?
Be totally honest, and it sounds contradictory, but from the customer standpoint, whether they actually think they want it or not, what they vocalize to us, I want to go see my doctor for a little to small copay. That is the number one thing. And you'll get that from customers that say, I never see the doctor. I'm healthy as can be. I can go to doctor once a year. All right, great. Let's go ahead and look at an insurance plan for you. And they're like, yep, but I want to make sure I have low copays to see my doctor. And then again, trying to figure that situation out, because that's what kills the insurance companies a lot is the utilization of doctor's visits, that if you have to add copays, that premium now is going to go up. So what we talk to somebody and say, hey, let's save you $150 or $200 a month in monthly premium. That's $2,400 a year. You can pay for your doctor once or twice out of pocket. But definitely, without a doubt, the customer, what they feel and they want is they want to have that shiny ID card in their wallet, and they want to be able to go to the doctor and pay little money out of pocket when they see that doctor and they use it. At the end of the day, though, we know the biggest thing that they got to be concerned with is not going to the doctor and paying for the visit. It's God forbid, you get the worst diagnosis. They diagnose you with cancer and you got $300,000 in bills coming. Guess what? That insurance company steps up, says, here's your $5,000 or $10,000 deductible. We got the rest.
Yep.
So that's the biggest thing from a consumer standpoint that they want to feel and hear. But at least I know, and we explain to them, they got your back in the bigger picture.
And I asked that question because, again, I am a product development and insurance nerd, and I want the audience to know that, one of the things that we run into where consumers, think that they're not getting the value out of insurance is they don't necessarily recognize the point of health insurance, right? And you just nailed it with your last comment there, which is, hey, it's a share of risk, right? You're paying premiums to make sure that there is a company that is going to back you up when tragedy or a major medical issue comes into play. Don't get us wrong. Companies want to support you on your medical visits, on your prescription drugs, and those benefits exist, but it has to be on kind of a cost share basis. The point of insurance, right? And again, I haven't been down here since the hurricane, but as I look around, I can see the devastation that has occurred, right? You want your homeowner's insurance there to help you cover a $25,000 roof that is going to be put on there, right?
Bump that up to 50 or 75 around here.
I live in Indianapolis. Our roofs are cheaper in the Midwest. But my point is, you're not expecting your homeowner's insurance to buy you a new vase, right? Or a new couch.
Yeah.
They're there to support you on major catastrophic events. So just want to make that point to the audience.
100%. And that's what we talk about all the time. So again, I appreciate you coming in studio with us.
Love it.
Let's do it again soon. Everybody, thank you for listening this weekend. For the loyal listeners that call me up and said, I've been listening for the past 2 years, we thank you as well. And if it's your first time, and again, you just have questions, give us a call, 239-633-3140, rockethealth.com. You guys have been listening to the Tyler McClosky Show. We'll see you next week.